The lie of the world is that sin is freedom. The lie of the world is that sin is liberating. The lie of the world is that if you aren't happy in your marriage, true freedom is found in breaking your marriage covenant and going out and being who you are to the fullest extent and abandoning your family and indulging your fleshly, sinful desires. The lie of the world is that if you conceive a child and you don't want a child, then you can kill that child before it's ever born to avoid the inconvenience of having a child. And you should have the freedom to treat a person like garbage and throw them in the trash. The lie of the world is that if you are born a boy but want to be a girl, true freedom is being able to have any identity that you desire to have. The lie of the world is that if you want material goods but you don't have the money for them, true freedom is to plunge yourself in debt to acquire whatever it is that you want and to indulge your greed and your materialistic desires. The lie of the world is that disobedience to God's law is true freedom. That's the lie. And Jesus exposes that lie because he says everyone who commits sin is not free. They're enslaved to sin. They're enslaved to unrighteousness. 2 Timothy 2:26, Paul picks up on what Jesus said, and he says that the unbeliever is held captive by the devil to do the devil's will. The unbeliever thinks he's out doing what he wants, free, to live his life however he desires, to be what he wants, to be with who he wants, to have what he wants. And what the unbeliever doesn't understand is that what he wants is from the devil. And his desires are not coming from himself, but from a lie. And he is enslaved to sin, and he is enslaved to the devil, to do the devil's will. In Ephesians 2, Paul will expand on this theme more. He calls the devil the prince of the power of the air at work in the sons of disobedience so that they indulge the desires of their flesh and of their minds. People in the world think they're pursuing freedom and liberty in what they desire, but the reality is their desires have been shaped and warped and perverted by the devil so that they pursue his will. And all along he tells them, you do what you want. And they believe it. This is bondage because it results in death. It brings about wrath. It destroys life. And the most significant part of that reality for us is that we all were slaves of sin. Everyone who is here, who is in Christ, before you were in Christ, you were in bondage to sin. You were held captive by the devil. You were enslaved. You were not free to pursue life. You were not free to experience life. And you were not free to inherit life. You were enslaved to death and destruction.